I am rubbish at Bloons Tower Defense 6. I don't even have a single black bordered map through my whole time playing the game. I've got a couple who I've beat chimps on, but I've never black bordered, and I don't even have every single monkey fully unlocked. I have never really used the Beast Handler. It's not even max. So today, of course, I'm going to be ranking every single tower on a noob's perspective. So if you want to see me rank everything, get everything completely wrong, you definitely want to watch today's video. Now here is the amazing tier list with every single tower lined up. I'm going to be ranking them all today. I'm not really going to justify anything because I can't. I barely know anything about the game. And I'm going to make a lot of people very angry. So don't take this as an actual tier list. I'm just going off my personal experience playing the game, which isn't very much. And also whatever towers I think are the coolest and the funnest to use. I've never ever beat any of the very hard maps on Chimps mode, so my opinions are pretty much invalid, but why not have a layman's perspective? So let's just start off, and we're going to go off with the Monkey Buccaneer. I think this is just like the rank 1. I mean, I think he's C tier. He's pretty good in the early rounds. I mean, he can pop balloons for what that's worth, and he's got some good range, so I don't mind it. Long range, I think that's probably D. The Buccaneer's already got a lot of range, if I remember correctly. Crow's Nest, it's okay. Getting camo's nice. And then Merchantman, that's an A. I think Flavored Trades is an A as well. And Trade Empire, they're all just A's. I mean, so much money you can make off it. Every single time I do a farming strat, and if there's water, it's going to instantly be using the Merchantmen just because I love it. You get defense, you can pretty much go up to round 40 without even placing anything down but Merchantmen, and you get super, super rich. Grape Shot, I'm putting in B. I like Grape Shot. It's very overpowered, if I remember correctly. Keep in mind, I haven't played super actively yet. Last time I played very properly would be at least 6 or so months ago. But yeah, Grape Shot, if I remember right, was very good. And Hot Shots, it's decent. It makes Grape Shot a little bit stronger. Cannon Ship, I'm also going to put in B. I remember it being quite powerful. And the last time I used it, which was quite recently, it did actually carry me quite a bit. Monkey Pirate, that's an A in my opinion. Pirate Lord, probably also an A, considering you can get it and just take away the ZOMGs on round 80 pretty much instantly. And it's also pretty good with DDTs on the later rounds, so I don't mind it. Faster Shooting, I'm going to give that, I'll give that a B. It's one of the better cross paths. And Double Shot, I mean, I think maybe not B. I'm going to put it in, I'll put it in C. Destroyer, that's definitely a B. I do like that. Airport Carrier, I don't really think this is too overpowered. I'll give it a C. And Carrier Flagship, I might give it a B because it has that good buff. That's the only thing I got, like, that I remember from it. It's got that good thing where you can make water monkeys stronger, and you can put those 2 snipers on top as well, which is definitely nice. Snipers or dart monkeys, whatever it may be. Wizard Monkey, the initial one, I think is like a D. I don't think it's the best starting monkey. It's not the strongest when it first starts, but it is alright. Intense Magic, I don't know too much about this, so we're just going to put it in C. I'm pretty sure it's okay. Monkey Sense, I actually don't even know what that does. Shimmer can go. I reckon it's not the best D camo, so I'll put it in C. There's better options, but it's not bad. Necromancer, Unpopped Army, probably also a C. Prince of Darkness, I think's probably like a D tier 5. I know he's very cheap, but I just don't see him doing much whenever I use him. Maybe I'm going crazy, but I don't remember him being too overpowered. Fireball allows you to pop leads, that's a C. Wall of Fire, I'm going to put it A. It's good for the early rounds, I like it. Dragon's Breath, I'm going to put in B. I also do like that. Wizard Phoenix, probably C tier. It's pretty good at killing off some bigger balloons when you do get it. It's not the most expensive. Wizard Lord, I mean, that's also a C tier. Guided Magic, that's probably an A. It's one of the better, like, cross parts. And then Arcane Blast, it also goes with it. I put that in A. Arcane Mastery, I think would be a B. Arcane Spike, I'd also put an A. And Archmage, I'd put at B. It's quite expensive, but he does do pretty good. Also, I do have the Paragon somewhere down here because it wasn't on the initial list. I haven't used this Paragon too much, so I don't know very much about him. But just because it's a Paragon and it's probably very powerful, excluding chimps because you literally can't get it, I'm going to put it at like S. It can do a lot of damage from what I've seen. I like the cool bird that follows it, and I like how it makes ZOMG zombie balloons. That is pretty cool. So I'm going to give it a good cool factor point and just chuck it in S. Keep in mind, again, I don't know what I'm doing with this tier list. I'm just winging it. Quincy, he's cheap. He's like a very cheap start. I'll put him in B, and he can do most of the early rounds pretty good. And he works alright on chimps because you can just buy him because you don't have the extra money, and he's still pretty cheap, so I don't mind him. Heli Pilot, that's probably a C tower. It's pretty good. Faster darts, I don't think it's very good to have faster darts. I think I'd rather have more darts rather than the faster darts usually. Moab Shove, that's a good B. You can stall around 40. It's good on bosses, stuff like that. Comanche defense, I think, is also... Actually, I'll put that in like an A. I like that tower quite a bit. It is pretty good for carrying like up to round 80. It can even probably do pretty much round 80 by itself. Comanche Commander, probably a B. It's just a bit more expensive and it's more of a niche tower. I don't really use it that much. I don't see it used too much. Bigger jets, that's an F. You don't care about the speed. Having camo though, it can be alright. I'll put it in C because that's where the other camos are. Downdraft, that's pretty good for stalling for people who do that. I don't really, but I know it's good for that. Support Chinook, also good for stalling and making money. And Special Populations, again, they're good for stalling. So I'll just chuck those in S. S is like pretty good, but SS would be the best tier and there's nothing there yet. So Quad Darts, I like it as a cross path. Pursuit, I like it because I hate microing, so I'm going to put it at B. Razor Rotors, I think it's good because you get lead popping, but that's really mostly what you get out of it, so that can stay down in C. Apache Dartship, I think, is a C as well, and a B, and I think that Apache Prime is also pretty worthy of the B tier. Striker Jones is an F. I think Gwendolyn, I know she's good for racing, even though I don't do it much. She probably gets a C then. She's a pretty decent hero for racing, but I don't really see her strength in like a normal game. I tried a Chimps run with her, and I completely lost, so I don't know if I'm a big fan. Ninja, I like the Ninja Monkey, you get instant camo. Seeking Shuriken, that's an A, it's such a good cross path. Caltrops, I mean, it's not that needed. I think it's alright, it's just not that needed. Flash Bomb, probably not very useful, it's just used to get to Sticky Bomb, which is pretty alright. And Master Bomber, I'd say, is also pretty decent. Distraction, I don't see it used that much. I personally don't use it that much. There are better ways to distract balloons, for example, the Chinook. But I'm going to put Distraction, I want to say C tier, it's not the worst. Counter Espionage, honestly, it's useless, because by the time they counter espionage the balloons, either you're going to have killed it, or it's going to get past, so I'm not a big fan. Shinobi, I like it. I think that being able to buff ninjas is definitely cool. Balloon Sabo, that's an S, it's just super nice. And Grand Saboteur, SS in my opinion. Making balloons come out damaged is just absolutely overpowered. Ninja Discipline, that's probably a B tier, I want to say. Sharp Shurikens, I'm going to also put it in B tier. Double Shot can go into A tier. Balloon Jitsu can also go into A tier. Grandmaster Ninja, I think I'll put him in the top of B. I like his synergy with Shinobi, so... Well, I mean, I don't really think the Bs are, like, ranked against each other, but I think Grandmaster's pretty good if you get 20 Shinobis on him. I was using it the other day in a late game run just because I was pretty bored. Oben, he can go into C. I think he's pretty good with magic monkeys. He's just not the most overpowered of all the heroes. Base Bomb Shooter, it's okay for popping leads. Extra range, the Bomb Shooter kind of needs range, but not too much. Frag Bomb's kind of useless. Cluster, I like Cluster Bombs just for clearing out a lot of stuff, but it's just not very good late game. Recursive used to be OP, but I'm pretty sure it's been nerfed because it just doesn't feel the same, so I put it in C as well. And Bomb Blitz, I don't know, it's only good with like a hero that makes you take hearts like Azili, and you can't really use it in chimps and stuff. I'm tempted to put it in D, but I'll put it in C as well. Faster Reload, that's going to go into B, it's a preferred cross path, same thing with Missile Launcher. Moab Mauler, I like it, it's just a good solution to Moabs. Moab Assassin, same thing. Moab Eliminator, it's just not as good as them just because of the price tag, and it falls off really hard once you get late game, so I'm not going to put it into B tier. Bigger Bombs, I think it's an F, and I think Heavy Bombs as well. These are like two very mid upgrades. Really Big Bombs is alright. Balloon Impact's pretty good for the stun, and then Balloon Crush just because it can pretty much perma-stun Moabs and really stall, I think it's worth the A. Etienne, I like him as a hero. I don't know if he's OP. In my opinion, he's pretty good. You get global camo, which of course, who doesn't like global camo? But I don't think he's very good when it comes to like later game stuff, so he can go into the C tier. Alchemist, base Alchemist is actually a good tower in terms of the fact that he can pop leads and he can do damage over time, and it's also an AoE effect, so like you can hit multiple things. I like Alchemist for that, so he can go into B tier. Faster throwing, it's good when you get some of these supporting stuff. Acid Pool is useless, I don't know why you'd ever get it. Lead to Gold, it can be okay for farming. I prefer Rubber to Gold though, which I'd say is an S tier upgrade just because you can get so much money out of it, especially if you use a Balloon Trap. Balloon Master Alchemist, I like him. Whenever I do late game runs, once again, I only do like free play hard mode. I do some chimps. I don't really play like any of the competitive modes, but I see Balloon Master Alchemist gets dumb amounts of pop, so I think that he is worthy of that A tier. Stronger Acid, I'm not too sure what it does, so I'm going to say I don't know enough. Perishing Potions seems pretty good, so I'll put that in B, because you can get rid of, or you can strip off the fortifications on balloons, so that is definitely nice. Unstable Concoction, I don't think it's got any real use. Transforming Tonic's not bad. I think Total Transformation's worthy of a B. I'm looking to like do a run with this tower at some point, just to like try it out a bit more, but from what I remember, it was pretty strong. Larger potions, it's a C tier. Acid Mixture Dip, SS. Berserker Brew, S. Stronger Stimulant, S. Perma Brew, just a normal S because it's more expensive and you can't get it in chimps. But those three are all really good. I like them all. So they can go straight to the top tier. They're just too overpowered. Churchill is very expensive, but he is definitely a good hero. I want to put him in B. I think he's the first B tier hero. Just because you can get pretty far with him. And if you can buy him, especially on chimps, he can usually do like a solid amount of damage. Especially if it's a straight map. Druid, I think it's an A tier starting tower. Druid Reach, it's just another range upgrade. Heart of Vengeance, I think is probably worth B tier. Druid of Wrath, B tier. Poplast, you can do pretty good with a Poplast and Avatar of Wrath. You just stack them up. So I think that's definitely worth it as well. Thorn Swarm, B tier. Heart of Oak, I'm not too sure what this does. I'll just drop it into C. Druid of the Jungle can be okay for making money, but it's just not the best strat. So I'll put it down into C as well. Jungle's Bounty, again, pretty good for money. Spirit of the Forest, pretty good for money. It does some decent damage. And it can deal with ceramics pretty well, but I'm not the largest fan. Hard Thorns allows you to pop leads. I think that's worth B tier, because you can just add it to the Druid. I think just realized this is Druid, he's in A, yeah. So I think Hard Thorns is worth B. Arguably, it could be maybe A in my opinion, just because it's such a cheap way to like kill off lead balloons, but we'll leave it in the B tier for now. Heart of Thunder, that's probably worth a C. Druid of the Storm, and Heart of Thunder, is that the lightning one? I think lightning is worth an A, because you get a lot of AoE damage and it can zap balloons, which is definitely pretty neat. Ball of Lightning, I think that's worth B. And Superstorm, I'd put an A just because, again, it can store pretty well. Next up, we've got Benjamin. He's pretty good for making money. He might be the first A tier hero, honestly. He can get a lot of money, so I'll chuck him into A as well. Banana Farm, the base one is not the best. I'll put it into C. Easy Collect, I mean, don't be lazy. Banana Salvage, I think you can sell Banana Farms for more, so I'll put that in D. Marketplace, that's an A in my opinion. Central Market, also an A. Monkey Wall Street, also an A. I think those are all A upgrades. Can't use them in chimps, obviously, but they are pretty good for that. Long Life Bananas, it's only really used to get to valuable bananas, which I'd say is an A as well. Monkey Bank, in my opinion, it's an S. IMF Loan, probably an A just because the loan, in my opinion, is not my favorite thing. Monkeynomics is SS. You can easily make your money back off it pretty quickly. Increased Production, that's an S. Greater Production is an S. Banana Plantation, though, I'd put in A, but then Research Facility, I'd put in S. Plantation, you don't really stop at it. You always go to that Research Facility, so yeah. Banana Central, that's an SS tower. Azili is a hero. Now, that one is interesting. I want to say that she's pretty good. She works very well late game, I know that. I'll put her into A. I've used her a bit, but not the most. Pat Fusty is just C tier. He doesn't really do too crazy stuff. He's pretty good, just not that amazing. Spike Factory. The base one's probably like a C tier. Long Reach is completely useless, honestly. Smart Spikes, also fairly useless. Long Life Spikes, I think is useless. Deadly Spikes, I don't mind. I'll put it in B tier. It actually carried one of my my runs recently on chimps. Perma Spike, I'm going to put Perma Spike probably into the A tier. I think it's pretty good. And then we've got Faster Production. That can go into... It's a preferred cross path in my opinion, so I'll put it into B. Even Faster, also into B. Moab Shredder, that's an S. And then, sorry, not S, sorry. Moab Shredder is A and Spike Storm is an S. That completely carried so many of my chimp runs. I absolutely love this tower, and I think it is one of the best towers of all time. Carpet of Spikes, I'm going to put that into A. I think it's a bit more expensive, but again, it can be really good in a chimps run. Bigger Stacks, that can go into B. It's pretty good. White Hot Spikes, I'm putting into S. I'm going to put it into A. I know that might sound crazy because it's just lead popping. But if you don't have a MIB down, you can use this to pop DDTs with a Spike Storm, and I think it is very, very good. That's what carried my chimps run. Spiked Balls, I'm going to put that into B as well. It's pretty decent. Spiked Mines I put into A. They also did a lot of work. And Super Mines are like super strong, so they can go into S. Adora, she's probably an A tier hero. She works stupidly well with Sun Temples and stuff, so she can go into A. Monkey Village, the base one isn't too amazing. I'll put it into C. Monkey Business, this is the discount if I'm not mistaken. That can go probably into A. I think discount is pretty good. And then we've got Monkey Commerce. Again, that's a discount. It can go into A. Monkey Town, I don't think it's that amazing. I'll put it into B. Monkey City, though, with Monkeyopolis, I know is pretty good, so that can go into A. And Monkeyopolis, I'd say, is still S. So Monkeyopolis definitely straight into that S tier. Grow Blocker, it's pretty cheap. It can definitely deal with regrows. I'll put it into A tier. Radar Scanner, giving you camo for your towers, I think it's not SS. I think it's an S tier. I like this upgrade. Especially if your towers don't have camo, it is pretty much an essential upgrade. The MIB, I think, is also an S. It's just really good for getting any tower to kill DDTs pretty much, and pretty much any balloon. Call to Arms, also an S. And then I want to say that Homeland Defense is just SS. It's way too overpowered to not have in a lot of different game modes. Obviously expensive, but in my opinion, very powerful. Bigger Radius, I'm going to give that an A. If you need to get more things within the range of one village, it can be pretty nice. Jungle Drums, that's an S. It's just pretty good buffs in my opinion. Primary Training, that can go into B, I want to say. It's good for primary monkeys, but it is a little bit situational. Primary Expertise, same thing. I don't mind the attack on it. The ballista can be strong, but yeah, I think it's worthy of that B tier. Admiral Brickle, she can go into... I think she's good with water strategies, but she's a bit niche, so she can go into C. Engineering Monkey, when you first place him, he's not too good. You can go into D. I very much like Oversized Nails. I like Pin. My favorite is Double Gun. It's so cheap. Great start to a game. I'm tempted to put in S, and I think it is worth to go in S. You can pretty much go all the way up to like round 20 with it, or like even further for a very cheap tower, so I'm a big fan of this. Probably a crazy thing to say. I don't know if this is a good tower, but I like using it pretty much whenever I get the chance. Balloon Trap, easy money, honestly. XXL Trap, though, that is probably an A tier. That's just not as good as Balloon Trap because it's way more expensive, but it can still make quite a bit of money from what I've seen. Largest service area, this is literally just a bigger range upgrade. Deconstruction, I'm not too sure what this does. From what I remember, it's like more damage to Moabs or something, so I can go into B. Cleansing Foam, okay support. Overclock straight to SS, super cheap usually. It means like 7,000, I think, on chimps. And it's pretty good to just A, make more money, and B, make your tower stronger. Ultra Boost, I'm also going to put into SS. I think it's one of the stronger towers in the game with just really, really good support. Sentry Guns, they're not too amazing. I put them into C. Faster Engineering, I think, is also probably a C. It's not the most amazing. Sprockets, I think, is F. I don't really know what it does. Sentry Expert, probably a B tier in my opinion. I used it recently to beat chimps as well on one of my maps. I think I've only ever done like 3 chimps runs, and I used Sentry Expert, a couple of spikes, and one other tower, which I'm pretty sure it was Never Miss on a ace. Sentry Paragon, that can go into... I think it's pretty good. I put it into B, especially if you outbuff it. I know it can be very strong. Sniper Monkey, the base one's like an F, honestly. It absolutely sucks. Faster Firing can be very nice. I'll put that into B. Even Faster is obviously a B. Semi-Automatic is definitely a C. Full Auto, though, I think, it's definitely got a lot of strength. And then Elite Defender, I'm going to put into A. For such a cheap upgrade, you can definitely carry a lot of runs, considering how fast he can fire. And especially if you get a lot of balloons on the map, he can be very powerful. Night Vision, it's good on some of the snipers, but it's not a preferred path. I'd rather have a village, so I'm going to put that in D. Shrapnel as well can go into D. Bouncing Bullet, though, probably I want to say A tier. It's pretty decent. Supply Drop, it's an okay farming method. I'll put it into B. An Elite Sniper, buffs all your snipers, definitely worthy of A tier. Full Metal Jacket, that's just going to go, I want to say, into S. It's such a cheap way to kill leads, and then the sniper's just there killing off tons of balloons. So if you can run snipers on a map, I like Full Metal Jacket, especially just from the damage you're getting. And even Larger Caliber, I also really like. Deadly Precision, it's a bit more expensive and not as useful. I'm going to put it into A tier. I think it's definitely worth it. May Moab, that's an S. And then Cripple's probably an A just because it's a lot more expensive. So May Moab, I like it. It stuns Moabs. I mean, what more is there to like really say about that? So definitely worthy of that S tier in my opinion. Water Monkey, the base one's trash, I think. Increased accuracy, I don't think it has the biggest use. I put it into D tier. Burny Stuff, I don't mind. I'll put that into C. Signal Flare, pretty good for decamoing actually. I'll put it into B tier. Can be a good option if you don't have a monkey village or some other way to decamo. Shattering Shells, I think is worthy of A. Getting rid of Fortified is good. And Balloon Incineration is probably an S tier. I think it's one of these stronger late game towers. Actually, I'm going to put it into SS. I've seen it just get dumb pop, so I think it's just worth it. Because it does damage over time to Moabs. It's not a like direct amount of damage. It can be very OP. Faster Reload, I think is pretty good. And obviously Rapid Reload. Heavy Shells as well. Even Artillery. I'm just going to put the whole entire, like, is this middle path? I'm going to put the whole middle path just onto B tier. I think they're all very solid and have a lot of maps where they can work well. Even with Trash Jones down here, they can also be pretty decent if you're not the best at microing because they will follow your cursor whenever you use his ability. Bigger Blast is a C. Balloon Buster is a C. I think Shell Shock's probably a B because you get that nice stun. Same thing with Big One, and I think Biggest One got a nerf if I'm not mistaken, so I'll put it into C. Dart Monkey, the base one's honestly SS. It's free in most game modes. It's pretty much essential on most chimp maps to have it as a starting tower. Really, you can't go wrong. Long range darts, it's just a range upgrade. Dart monkeys have small range, so I'll put it into C. Enhanced eyesight, good cheap camo, honestly, especially for that round with the one green balloon. I think it's like round 13. I might be wrong, but yeah, I like that. Crossbow Crossbow is not the worst. I'm going to put it into B as well. I think Sharpshooter is also B. Crossbow Master, I know a lot of people hate this tower. Apparently, it's not good competitively. I don't mind it, like, for some runs, but it's not my go-to, so I think I'll put it into C. Quick Shots, also a B. I think Very Quick Shots is also a B. And then Triple Shot, I like it. I'll put it into A. It's a pretty cheap tower. The only thing in Chimps, you can't sell it, so it's not as good, and it can soak up space. But it can carry you for quite a bit in the early game, so I don't mind it. Super Monkey Fan Club, I think it's a C. I don't really use it, and same thing with Plasma Club. People say it's good, but I've just never really seen the desire to run this, like, specific tower. I think it's very, very specific. Sharp Shots and Razor Sharp are also going to go into B. Spiker Pole, honestly, I don't mind it on straight maps. I'll put it into B as well. Juggernaut, though, that's a C. It's very map specific. Same thing with Ultra Jug. Tack Shooter, the base one is kind of bad, I'm not going to lie. I mean, it's okay if you're in the right spot, but the base one can be very bad. More Tax, it's a preferred path, in my opinion. I'll put it into B. Even more Tax, also into B. Tax Sprayer, I'll put into A. It's pretty cheap and fairly fast damage, if I'm not mistaken. Overdrive, also into A. I think Tax Zone's a good B tier. I think Tax Zone is a good B tier, just because it's more expensive, sometimes not the most affordable, and it does need a lot of support, so you're going to need a Permabrew is definitely a good thing, but having like a MIB with it would definitely help, and at least some type of an alk buff. So it's a bit hard to get this thing going on like Chimps maps and stuff, but it isn't the worst tower, but it's not my number one pick. Long range Tax, I think these are both useless upgrades. I don't see why you'd get them, unless you want Blade Shooter, which is okay, I think, for racing. And Blade Maelstrom, same thing. Super Maelstrom, same thing. They're good for races, but I don't think they're really useful as much in like a normal game. I wouldn't really run a Blade Maelstrom in Chimps. It wouldn't just be one of my top picks. Faster Shooting, it's probably a B. It's definitely a good cross path. Hot Shots, it's decent. Ring of Fire, I do like. I'll put that into A. And then the big ring is just too expensive to use, so I think it's worth B if you can get it up, but it is just difficult to use if I'm not mistaken. Super Monkey, C tier, honestly. The base one is very expensive and it's just not that good. Knockback, I think is pretty decent. Ultra Vision, it's just camo. Dark Knight, pretty good in B tier. I think that's solid. Dark Champion, also solid. Legend of the Night, just for the fact that he can literally kill any balloon, even a bad, instantly. He's worthy of S. Late game runs, that's very nice. And even just as a nice fallback net, if you can afford him, he can also be good. But he is dumb expensive, so maybe he's worth A because of just how expensive he is. So I will keep that in mind. Super Range, that's worthy of, I'm going to put it in B. I think Super Monkey Range is preferred upgrade usually, just because the range on the monkey, it is a big upgrade. So compared to other range upgrades, Super Range and Epic Range are ridiculous size in comparison. Robo Monkey, I want to put that into like A tier. I think Robo Monkeys are pretty cheap, like at least for Super Monkeys, and it is pretty decent. Tech Terror, I think that's worth B. It's got a decent ability. Same thing with Anti-Balloon, worth B. I know that the first ever 2-tower Chimps, I'm pretty sure, was done with an Anti-Balloon, but still, it is just not the most OP tower. Laser Blast, I think it's a downgrade because you can't pop purples with it, so like, I don't see why you would use this unless you're going for Plasma Blast, which is, in my opinion, an upgrade over the base Super Monkey attack. Sun Avatar, that's an A, honestly, especially with, not S, an A, because with Adora, it can do very good, and if you spam those down in a lot of game modes, they can work pretty well. Same thing with Sun Temple, just a pretty good overall tower. True Sun God, though, that's like an SS. You need it for pretty much any game mode besides Chimps, especially late game free play, boss runs, anything that involves dealing a ton of damage. You want a True Sun God, whether it be a support Sun God. I'll even put the Sun Temple up here because you can get a support temple. Support Sun God, support temple, damage, whatever it may be. True Sun God is really good, and if I had a Vengeful Temple, it'd also be here, but I just don't have a picture of it, so I think that those two towers are probably some of the strongest in the game. Moving on to Ice Monkeys, I think the base Ice Monkey is not good because, I mean, you freeze the balloons, but if you don't have a tower to pop them, it can be very useless. So base Ice Monkey is an F. Larger radius on the ice, though, that's worthy of a C. Refreeze, I'll put that in B. It can be very nice. Cryo Cannon, I'll also put it in B. Icicles, also in B. I think Icicle Impale, which is the Moab one, is probably an A. I actually do like that as a tower, and it helps you slow down a lot of Moabs, especially late game. Enhanced Freeze, that's a B. Deep Freeze is a B. Arctic Wind, I think it's just like an AoE freeze. I don't think it's as useful, so I'm going to put it down into C. Snowstorm, though, Global Range, I think is worthy of B. And then Absolute Zeros, it's definitely like an S tier tower. It's very good as a supporting tower, and I do like it. Permafrost, I think this isn't a preferred path, but I'll just chuck that in C as well. Metal Freeze, good for leads, obviously. Ice Shards, pretty decent. Embrittlement and Super Brittle are both just SS tier towers. They both add extra damage to a Moab, and they allow you to deal crazy damage to those. So pretty much essential support towers. I know they're used in boss runs. I've used them in normal runs. I haven't used it in chimps yet, I might, but I do like this tower. Monkey Ace, I think the base one's actually okay. It's a bit RNG, so I put it in D, but it's not the worst base tower. Sharper Dart, pretty good. I think that with Centered Path, not in D tier, sorry, I think they're okay. They're just middle of the pack. They're just not too overpowered. Never Miss, I think is so good for middle game. I'm going to put it into A. I'm quite a big fan of it. I've used it in both of my chimps runs so far, and it pretty much just carries, so I definitely like Never Miss targeting. Spectre, it's too expensive. By the time you get it, it's usually the end game, but I'll put it into C. I mean, I've used it from round 60 and it carried till round 80, but that was a really specific run where I could just like save up, especially for a Spectre. And I think it was also on the same chimps run where I ran the Never Miss, so I don't mind the Spectre, but I don't know if it is the most OP. Flying Fortress, I think it's a very strong tower, boss runs and stuff. It's worthy of an A, it's just too expensive for most normal runs. A, Exploding Pineapple, that's an F, honestly. It's super hard to aim. Spy Plane, getting cameras alright. Bomber Ace, I don't mind. I kind of spammed those down once and they did pretty okay. Ground Zero, I think is pretty decent. Same thing with SAR. Actually, I think SAR Bomb and Ground Zero might be A tier towers. They're both pretty good at just wiping out massive clumps of balloons. Rapid Fire, I think that's a preferred path, so I'm going to put that onto A tier. And then Lots More Darts is definitely also an A tier. So those are two very good ace towers. Fighter Plane, honestly, I'm not the biggest fan of it, but it's pretty good with Moab, so I'll put it onto B. ODS, I think ODS, I'm also not the biggest fan. I'll put it in B. I know Sky Shredder, I've never really used it, and this is the only thing I've ever heard about it, is it's very OP for chimps runs and stuff like that, so I'm going to put it into S tier. That's not from my personal experience, though. Boomerang Monkey, for its good Pierce at a cheap tower, I think it's pretty good. Long Range, I'm not a fan of. Red Hot, okay for leads, it can go into B. Kylie, I don't mind, also into B. Moab Press, it's a good stall, it's got good Moab damage, I think A is worthy. And Moab Domination, it's same thing, but it's just a lot more expensive. Faster Throwing, I don't mind Faster Throwing, I'll put that into B tier as well. Bionic Boomer, I think the Bionic Boomer is also worthy of B. And then Turbocharge, I think just because it's an ability, it's probably a C. Permacharge can probably go into B in my opinion. Improved Range, that's an A just because it's one of the better boomerang parts. And then Glaives as well, I think is better. But Glaive Ricochet, I'm not the biggest fan of. I put into C. More Glaives, same thing. And then Glaive Lord, all I've heard, it's completely useless unless you're doing races. So I'll put it into D. I mean, it's okay for racing, but otherwise it sounds pretty bad. Base Glue Gunner honestly sucks. Stickier Glue, pretty okay if I'm not mistaken. Stronger Glue, also pretty okay. Moab Glue, I definitely like. It can go into A. And then we've got Relentless Glue. That's definitely I want to say an SS. It's one of the best towers, just like for chimps mode, because it's so cheap and it's so powerful. And then Super Glue can also go into S. It's not as good as Relentless, just because it is more expensive, and you can't really do chimps runs with it and stuff like that. But Relentless Glue is really, really good and cheap support, if I'm not mistaken. Keep in mind, once again, you're getting a noob's perspective here. I barely know what I'm talking about. Bigger Globs, I'm going to put into probably D tier, maybe C tier. Glue Splatter, gonna put that into B tier. I'm gonna put Glue Hose into C. Glue Strike is an SS, and then also Glue Storm, also an SS. These are just two really good supporting towers. Glue Soak, that's probably a C tier. It's pretty good. Corrosive Glue, I'm not the biggest fan of. I think the base one, like level 1, is pretty useless besides lead killing, so I'm not a big fan of that. Balloon Dissolver, though, I like. And then Balloon Liquefier, I also like, and I put that in A. And then I think that out of every tower, the Balloon Solver is really, really good at just destroying every single balloon besides Moab. So it's definitely worth an S, because it just melts around 63. And anything that's not a Moab, it's going to melt. Even normal, just base Moabs, it can do pretty good against. And then it just cleans up the inside so well. So I definitely like Balloon Solver, especially if you can get like an arc buff on it to get it to shoot a bit faster. Now all we have left are screenshots that I took from in-game, because this tier list, I didn't actually make it. I'm not sure who made it. I don't know how to check. Actually, here we go. This is who made it. So my name, Jeff. Thank you for that. But these are all screenshots I took in-game. They didn't format very well, but that's perfectly fine. Ascended Shadow, I think as a Paragon, he's pretty good, especially late game. Makes balloons spawn damage. I do like him. The Engineer Paragon, same thing. Pretty damn good. I don't know anything about the Beast Handler, so he's going to go into I don't know enough. Like, I've barely ever used him. I used him a bit when he first released, and since then I haven't touched him, because I don't know, I just don't think it fits the flow, so I'm not a very big fan. Boomerang Monkey, I'm going to put him into B. He's a very cheap version of like a Paragon, so I think he's worth it. I'm gonna put the Apex Master. He can go into C. I don't think he's the best Paragon. Once again, cheap, so he can be used in like boss runs and stuff for lower tiers, but I don't think he's my top choice of a Paragon. The Goliath Doom Ship, that's an SS. I mean, it's one of the best Paragons in the game. It's definitely worth it. The bombing run, really OP, really good for bosses. Looks cool as, I mean, it's red and it has 3 mini ships, and it shoots cool missiles. Like, what more do you really want? This is actually the submarine Paragon. I don't have it unlocked. I'm like 20,000 XP off, so I don't know enough for that. Navrak of the Seas, it can go into SS as well. It's one of the best Paragons in my opinion. And then we've just got heroes left. Rosalina, I used her recently. I'm not the biggest fan. This is Etienne. We've already ranked Etienne. I must have taken a second one by accident. Sai, I think Sai's kind of like a sniper. I like him. I like his ability to just kill unlimited balloons when he gets to level 20, if you use that level 10 ability, so he can go into B. Geraldo, I mean, what more needs to be said about Geraldo? Corvus, same situation. What more needs to be said? Sorta, we all know everything about her. I'm sure that everyone knows her inside out from the memes, but I think that she's worthy of an S tier. She's one of my favorite starting heroes, and if you see me doing a chimps run, she's probably the hero I'm going to use. Yes, you can use Geraldo and Corvus, and they're going to be better, but I just like Sorta because it's that, like, guaranteed early game start, and it always works out. So Sorta, worthy of an S in my opinion, and probably the hero that I'm using the most nowadays, because I'm a bit bored of Geraldo, and I haven't used Corvus much. I've used him in a couple of runs. I'm just not very good with him, so Sorta is, in my opinion, my current favorite hero. Quick post-editing thing right now. I just noticed I didn't rank the Monkey Sub or the Dartling Gunner. I guess they just weren't on the list. So I'm going to quickly rank them. I'm not going to put them on the list just because I can't get back on it right now. But I am going to rank them like this. Longer range, I think, is a B tier. Advanced Intel is S tier in my opinion. Just full map range on a Monkey Sub is very OP. Oh, and the base Monkey Sub, how could I forget? The base sub is probably like a B. It's pretty good as a starting tower. Submergence support is nice. I like how it decamos balloons. I'm definitely a big fan of it as literally a supporting tower, so I'll give it an A. Balloontonium Reactor, that's an S. Energizer, also an S. I mean, actually they're both SS towers because you get that amazing support out of them. I think they're definitely worth it with that shorter ability cooldown. Barb Darts, in my opinion, that's a good solid, I want to say A tier. Heat Tipped is definitely B because it's only leads. Ballistic Missile, it's a C. I don't really like the ballistics. I prefer going in for one of the other paths on the monkeys. First strike capability, that is definitely, I want to say, at least a tier. It's pretty good. It's just a cheat for like around 100 on any chimps map, and it is definitely quite a strong ability. Preemptive, it's a B. It's a bit more expensive. Sometimes it's a bit unaffordable on a chimps run. It can be afforded. It is only 29,000, but I'm not a big fan of it. I think it's worthy of a B tier just because it isn't the strongest, but it is still a pretty good tower. Twin Guns, that's probably, I'm going to say, an A tier as well. Airburst is B tier. I prefer going for either Twin Guns or Barb Darts, but usually I go Twin Guns whenever I go Advanced Intel, just because I like it. And then Barb Darts, Airburst Darts is good, but it's not the best. Triple Guns, that's definitely worthy of a B tier. Armor Piercing, I want to say, is A, and Sub Commander, also an A. So these two would be A tier, because you can pretty much just cheese the whole entire game with them if you have a good enough map. I already rated Nordic Siege Core. I put it in I don't know because as you can see I don't have it unlocked yet. As for the Dartling Gunner, the base Dartling Gunner I'm going to give like a D tier. I don't like him because it's just not very consistent the way he fires. But other than that, the Dartling Gunner is one of the stronger towers. So focused firing, probably a B. Laser Shock, it's going to go in C. It's not my favorite. Laser Cannon, I do like though. That can go into A. I think it's pretty good. And same thing with Plasma Accelerator, also into A. It is one of those stronger towers, pretty much infinite pierce. I mean, you cannot go wrong with it. Ray of Doom, literally, I think, has infinite pierce, but I'm not the biggest fan of it for its price. Whenever I do get to use it though, I definitely like the tower, and I think it's worthy of an A tier. Otherwise, it would be S if it was a bit cheaper. Advanced Targeting, it's nice to hit camos, and I'm surprised that a Dartling Gunner can't hit camos. But whenever you unlock it, it's fairly cheap, 250 bucks. I'm going to give it like a good B tier. Faster Barrel Spin, I like it as well, probably a B tier. Hydro Rocket Pods is not the most amazing in my opinion. I think that it is a bit over the top for the damage it's dealing. I mean, it barely does any damage, and then there's these massive explosions going off. I'll give it a B tier though. It's just, that was just a complaint about the sprite, making it look like it's a crazy tower that's not as overpowered. Rocket Storm, it's worthy of probably an A tier. It's got that stun ability, and Mad is just an SS tier. It's really good at just demolishing any Moabs. Faster Swivel is an F. You don't really need to spin the barrel that fast, especially if you've got the Darling Gunner in a good position. It should just be able to hold that down, and the faster swivel is not necessary. Powerful Darts, though, I like it. I'm going to give it a, probably, let's say around an A. Actually, I'll give it an A. Buckshot, that is, again, one of my more favorite Darling Gunner upgrades. I'll give it probably a B. Balloon Area Denial, though, I like it. Gets rid of the micro. You can pretty much auto it. I'm going to give it a as well. And then Balloon Exclusion Zone, I'm going to give an A as well. I think that this is probably my favorite upgrade path to go down, besides maybe getting the Mad, because the Mad is, well, it's absolutely mad. So here is the final tier list. This is everything ranked, everything I've thought about every single tower. I'm sure that 90% of it is completely wrong. I could pretty much guarantee it. Because once again, I'm a Bloons Tower Defense 6 noob. I am an absolute garbage player compared to some of the best in the world. I mean, if there's a leaderboard, I think there is. No, there isn't. I don't think there's... I don't even know anything about this game. So really, I was not the best person to rank these towers. But why not have a layman's perspective from someone who doesn't have every tower unlocked? I'm probably going to make a video of me getting the Nordic Siege Core. And also, this is my first video, so do keep that in mind. I have another channel for another game. I've actually got two, but one of them I'm not doing anymore. And I've just been enjoying playing Bloons recently, so I thought, why not just make a random video? So if you want to see more videos, subscribe to the channel. We're going to try hit 500, maybe, we'll see. And yeah, if you liked today's video, let me know in the comments, or just flame me for my horrible decisions, and tell me which map I should do chimps on. Thanks very much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.
Are you kidding me? Nothing gets past my bow.